Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a very different video. I'm going to be doing my Premier League predictions for the new season, the 2016 to 2016, I believe it is. 2016 to 2016, I believe it is. 2016 to 2016, I believe it is. I'm recording this currently at about 7 o'clock on Saturday, so there have been quite a few games already played. Everton drew 1-0 against Spurs, which, I mean, if someone told me that result before the game, I definitely would have taken it. It's just a bit annoying because obviously we were 1-0 up in about 5 minutes, I believe it was. But yeah, nevertheless, it was a pretty good game. It was quite a lot of action. The new signings performed quite well. Stecklenburg was pretty solid, and Idrissi Gueye, or Guy, I don't know how you say his name, he's pretty good as well. But nevertheless, let's get straight into this. So my bottom three, it's quite hard to decide because there are quite a lot of, like, pretty much everyone are signing really good players at the moment. But the people that I would definitely go for is Hull to finish very, very bottom, because I don't think they signed anyone in particularly, like, anyone to shout about. They do have Adel Hernandez, who is a very good striker. Used to play for Palermo, I believe, or Fiorentina, somewhere in Italy. And obviously he's not a bad striker. He did score a bicycle kick, or it went to Diamonde, I'm not too sure. But yeah, it was a quite nice goal. But yeah, I just feel like they don't really have that squad depth. They did get rid of a lot of players. They did lose one of their better players, Diame, I believe it was, earlier in the season. So yeah, I just feel like they are going to be the team that finished the bottom. They did beat Leicester 2-1, but I just feel like that might just be a little bit of a blip. But yeah, I've got Hull down as 20th. Then 18th and 19th, I put down Sunderland to finish 18th, and then Burnley to finish 19th. Again, the same applies really. Sunderland, they have made a few signings. They brought in Adan Januzaj on loan and Paddy McNair. I'm not sure if he's on loan or they signed him. They also have Kazri, who performed quite well at the end of the last season, and they do obviously have Defoe, who did score today. And yeah, they do have a few decent players, but I just feel like out of everyone else in the league, those two teams do have by far the weakest squads. So they are the three teams that I have down for relegation. And then 17th to 14th, I've got, coming in at 17th, I've got West Brom, narrowly missing out on the relegation zone. Again, I feel like they have a very weak squad, and they do have a few decent players, but it's looking like Berahino, probably their better player, or best player should I say, is looking like he's probably kind of pushed for a leave, I believe, to Crystal Palace. I'm not too sure which team it is linked to him, but it's looking like he is going to leave anytime now, really. Although they do have Tony Pulis, I don't think he's going to be enough to get them any higher than like 16th, to be honest. So I put them down as 17th, and then Bournemouth and 16th, who are my local team, and I do rate them. They have made a decent couple signings. They have Nathan Ake on loan from Chelsea. They have signed Jordan Ibe for about, I think it was 15 million, and they also have Maxi Gradel, who's obviously got injured for a very long time last season. Tyrone Mings, who's basically going to be a new signing because he didn't actually really play last season at all. But yeah, I mean, Bournemouth, I don't think they're going to get relegated. They do have quite a few decent players, like Callum Wilson. Obviously, he came back from injury at the end of last season. I think they're going to have enough to stay away from the relegation zone, but I don't think it's going to be any more than that, to be honest, in this season. 15th, I've given to Watford. They did lose their manager at the end of the last season. However, they do have quite a few good players. They have obviously Troy Deeney, who scored quite a few goals last season. They have, I don't remember the fucking team, but I don't think that they'll be anywhere near the relegation zone come the end of the season. 14th is going to be Middlesbrough. Obviously, I'm not saying they're definitely going to finish there, but I feel like they're going to be the lower end of the mid-table because they've made quite a few good signings. I do rate their business in the transfer season so far. They signed Negredo, only on loan, I believe, from Valencia, and he's already scored. He scored for them in the 11th minute, I believe, in the game that they played today. They also have Victor Valdez, who's obviously a proven goalkeeper. He used to play for Barcelona like 2 seasons ago. Now he's at Middlesbrough, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. And Fischer, the player from Ajax, I'm not sure if they signed him permanently or on loan, but a few decent signings. They also have Brad Guzan from Aston Villa. So yeah, they have quite a few players now that can actually put in a shift, and their team's looking a lot better from last season. And I feel like they have quite a good squad to push on and maybe even push up to the 12th or 13th place. 13th and 12th, I've got Swansea coming in at 13th, Crystal Palace in 12th. Swansea, they did lose one of their best players, John Joe Shelvey, and also they've lost Babatunde Gomez, or Gomes, not sure how you say it. But I do feel like they do have a decent squad anyway, so they should be okay. Crystal Palace, the same, to be honest. They do have quite a few good players. They obviously have Balassi, who is actually linked to Everton for 25 million, which is just ridiculous. They also have Wilfried Zaha, who's very, very good. and they recently signed Tompkins from West Ham for about 10 million, which is just crazy how much players are going for at the moment. But yeah, I feel like they have a very good squad. I feel like they are lacking in a few positions, which could stop them from pushing even higher in the league. But I do feel like they're going to be nowhere near the relegation zone, sitting quite comfortably in 12th. 11th, I have Southampton, which is probably quite surprising, but they have lost quite a few players over the past couple of years, and obviously they've lost one of their more important people, the manager, Ronald Koeman, who's obviously come to Everton, which I'm obviously really happy about, because Roberto Martinez just wasn't doing it for us. His first season was incredible, he finished 5th, so obviously we collected Koeman from them. They've also lost Mane, who's a big figure for them. Obviously last season they lost Schneiderlin, and I don't know, I just feel like they are losing quite a lot of key players that were pushing them higher up into the league, like the 8th and 9th positions. And I feel like it probably will affect them now, and it's probably going to end up causing them to finish about 11th or 10th, maybe somewhere around that region. And then 10th, I put Stoke, because they play quite nice football. They have a few good players like Shaqiri, who's very, very good. Bojan, who's half decent. I mean, he's not nowhere near as good as he was supposed to be. They also have Arnautovic, got a bit of a temper, but he is very talented. And they do have just quite a few good players, and I feel like they will solidify that mid-table position in and around 10th, which is where they normally finish. In 9th, very controversial, but I've actually put Leicester. I don't know, I just feel like they were so good last season, but I just feel like with Champions League, playing in such a tournament where they probably will focus on it quite a lot, I just feel like they're not going to do anywhere near as well as they did last season. And not to say that they won't, I mean, it is quite possible they could finish up in 6th or 7th, but I just feel like, especially with the Champions League, that they're not going to be anywhere near that first place that they were last season. All credit to them for finishing first, which is just a ridiculous accomplishment, because only like 5 or 6 teams have actually won the Premier League, so it is incredible for them to actually have won it. But I just feel like they're not going to be anywhere near that top 5 position this season, especially after losing Kante, who was such an important player to them, and it's looking like they may lose Mahrez. I'm not 100% sure if he will go or not. He probably won't, but if he leaves, I think they're definitely not going to be anywhere near where they were last season. In 8th, I've got West Ham. I put them in 8th because they do have quite a few good players. They've had pretty good transfer season. They've signed, they got Feghouli on a free. They got Gökhan Tore on loan. They've made quite a good few signings. Obviously, Dimitri Payet is just doing wonders for them. So I believe they will have a good season. However, they do obviously have Europa League to deal with, and they will obviously having to play on a Thursday, a couple of days just before the weekend fixtures, and I feel like it can have a massive impact on them if they do progress far into the tournament. Obviously, if they get knocked out before the group stages like last time, then they may even push for the 6th, 7th place. But I feel like with Europa League, they will struggle to continue the form and progress even further in the league. So I've put them down as 8th. Obviously, being an Everton fan, I have put them higher up than maybe a lot of people would put them, but I've gone ahead and put Everton in 7th. I'm not going to be too optimistic and say like 5th or 6th or even 4th, but I feel like we're going to have a lot better season than last year. We've obviously got quite a few signings. We signed Idrissi Gueye, who looks pretty good. We've also signed Ashley Williams, who I think is going to be incredible for us. Although he's pretty old, he's like 31, 32. He's obviously not going to be as good as Stones will be when he gets to his prime. But I feel like for the time being, he is going to be an improvement on our defence, which is probably the weakest point we had last season. So I feel like Ashley Williams is going to help us secure a much higher position in the league. And obviously with Ronald Koeman coming into the team, coming into management, should I say, I feel like it's going to be a very good season for us. In 6th, I've put Liverpool, our bitter rivals. I hate to put them above Everton, but they do have a much better squad than us, I would say. They've obviously signed a few decent players. Obviously signed Mane, for example, and Klopp's obviously making the team his own now. And I feel like they're just going to have a lot better season than they did last year. And with Klopp's reign and his style of football, the high pressing and stuff is just going to be so good for them. And I feel like they will have a very good season, up in probably about 6th, maybe even 5th if they're lucky. But I feel like 6th is probably where they're going to finish. 5th, I put Spurs, which a lot of people, especially Spurs fans, would be angry to hear. But I think the way they bottled it last season, they were looking like they were probably going to win the league at one point, because no one really thought Leicester were going to maintain it for so long. They actually managed to lose a 2-horse race, and Arsenal obviously swooped in for the 2nd place and left Tottenham in 3rd place, which I don't even understand how that happened. But yeah, I just feel like that kind of may hinder them, and I don't know, I think expectations be a lot higher for them this season as opposed to last season. And with all the new managers coming into the league and all the wealth of players coming in, I feel like it's going to be hard for Tottenham to push for that Champions League spot, so I put them down as 5th. Now, this top 4 was so hard to choose, but what I've done is I put Chelsea in at 4th. I feel like out of all the teams, considering how the transfer window may go, I put Chelsea in 4th because I feel like with a few signings, the other teams will be a lot better than them. But Chelsea, they had a very bad season. I think they finished 9th or 10th last season, which is just awful, especially for them. And I feel like with Conte coming in, and Kante especially, he's going to be so good for them. But I don't see how Hazard could have any worse of a season. And I feel like if all those players perform and they just gel right, then it could be a really good season for them. They could push for the league. I doubt they will, just because of the signings the other team have made, which have just been incredible. But I feel like Chelsea will have a much better season this time around, and guarantee Champions League football. In at 3rd, I put down Arsenal for 3rd. Now, I would say as the team stands at this second, I don't think Arsenal would finish 3rd, but if they do manage to sign a striker such as Lacazette, then I think they'll easily get 3rd place or maybe even 2nd. But I just feel like they're lacking that one striker. I know a lot of people do say that Giroud is good, but I just don't think he's good enough consistently to put Arsenal into that first place. I feel like he will get them like 15 goals a season, but it just doesn't come regularly enough. It comes in patches, and they need a more consistent goal scorer. So if they go out and sign a striker like Lacazette or Aubameyang, I doubt, well, Aubameyang's not going to leave unless for Real Madrid, but if they do sign a good striker, then I can definitely see them pushing for that 3rd spot. Now, obviously this means that one of the Manchester clubs are going to win the league, in my opinion. And what I've gone and done, mainly because of the recent signings, is I've put Manchester City in 2nd and Manchester United in 1st. Very controversial, but I just feel like Manchester United made some incredible signings. Paul Pogba, a lot of people will say he's going to flop, but I feel like it's just being a bit salty. Teams fans, you know, the rival clubs, I feel like Pogba will have a very good season. I know a lot of people said he underperformed in the Euros, but he did play CDM a lot of the time, or just a deeper role where he's a lot better in a cam spot where Rooney normally plays, higher up in the pitch, making more of an impact, driving at the defenders, you know. And I feel like if he's allowed to play in that position, he will be incredible. He obviously signed Zlatan. I know he's 35, but I think he was a top scorer in Europe last season. I feel like he's going to secure like 15-20 goals for United this season. They obviously have Martial, who's the golden boy. He scored I think 11 goals last season. If he continues that form, then he's just going to get so many more. They obviously have Mkhitaryan, the assist king in the Bundesliga, Rashford, that young pacey player that can easily get a goal off the bench or even starting if he needs to be. They have very good defenders. They have Smalling, who's incredible. Shaw's going to be basically a new signing for them because he got injured so early in the season. Yeah, I just feel like their team is so good, and obviously De Gea in goal, one of the best keepers in the world, if not, I mean, I'd say he's probably 2nd best to Neuer, but I just think De Gea is incredible. Saved them so much last season, and I just feel like overall their team is just so good. Obviously having Jose Mourinho in as well. Obviously the United fans would have hated him before, but I just think he's such a good manager, one of the best in the world, if not the best, easily top 2, top 3 though. But yeah, I just feel like there's so much going on for them, and if they manage to even make a couple more signings to even further strengthen their team, they're going to be flying. And I forgot to mention Eric Bailey, or Bailey, I don't know how you say it, playing alongside Smalling. I think he's so good. He's going to have a very good season. The reason I put City in there, they have made a few good signings. They also obviously signed Leroy Sané. Rulli, they did loan him back to his original club in Sociedad. But yeah, I feel like they will have a good season, not going to lie. They could possibly win the league. I wouldn't be surprised they did. Obviously, they have Sergio Aguero, who can get a team 20-30 goals if he stays fit. But that's a major if he stays fit. But if he manages to stay fit, then you never know. City could push for the league because he'll easily get in the 20-25 goals a season if he stays fit for all 38 games. But he's just had so many injury problems. It's hard to look past him not getting injured again. But yeah, I put my predictions as Man United to win the league. I know a lot of you are going to disagree with me 100%. It's going to be people saying City are easily going to walk the league, Chelsea are going to make a comeback and win the league, or Arsenal may sign that striker that will help them win the league. Leicester may repeat what they're going to do, which just won't happen, I'm sorry. But yeah, I know there will be a lot of people that disagree with me, but at the end of the day, it's in my opinion. I know that this won't happen for a fact, but it's just basing off what I've seen so far in the transfer window and what I've seen in the couple games that have been played. It may surprise you to see that I put Hull 20th, considering they did win today. But like I said, I do think it's just a bit of a blip, and I don't think they'll be doing much more of that this season. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, something a little bit different. If you want me to do this, maybe if you want me to maybe start a series where I do predictions every week or every fortnight or something like that, or maybe just the important games, maybe do like some sort of accumulator like Spencer does, if you've seen that, then I'll quite happily do that. It'll be a bit of fun. Maybe get on other people like Lammy, like Kazelix, GD, Scares, etc, etc. Maybe we can have like a little competition with a prize at the end, whoever gets the most points. But yeah, if you want to see that, just let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Leave a like if you liked the video, comment down below, subscribe if you're new, and peace.